Hello, welcome back. Thank you so much for being here and continuing to listen to my story. I really appreciate you guys. So, when I left off, I was starting to kind of understand my roommate, who I've been calling Kate, um, that I had just moved in with the end of October of last year, of 2024. And this is in Portland. And I was excited because when you're kind of in Portland, everything is easy to get to. So you have like the White Mountains of New Hampshire, hour or so away. You have the oceans right there. The whole seacoast. Go down to Portsmouth, New Hampshire. There's just so much in that center area. And so I figured, okay, this is a great start to kind of now being a permanent space. You know, I really liked my room, the way I set it up. There seemed to, at first, be a good balance with, herself, her nephew who was living there, who he was 20 years old. So there was three bedrooms. He had the bedroom more towards the front of the house, and her and I had each of our bedrooms were towards the back of the house, right near the bathroom, which was great for me after going through what I had gone through being in my car for, was that 3.5 months, I think? Yeah. So it's just getting ready to get settled in, getting ready for winter was going to be my first main winter. And I had heard all the stories and, um, like how bad was it going to be? But a lot of people were saying that we really hadn't had a really bad winter in many, many years. So I was like, okay, so maybe my first one won't be too bad, which it wasn't. Um, so it was a thing of just kind of now getting up early, like I always did. Um, I always do my journaling in the morning, drink my coffee, then I get ready for work, and then I usually leave the house around 6:30 and started getting to work earlier. Um, my manager was really good with flexibility as long as we put in our 8 hours. Um, we could kind of come in whatever kind of time we wanted to. So I was getting there at first 7:30 and later I adjusted to 7:15. And later, just before I left, I was starting at 7 o'clock because that's how I did in New York when I worked on Wall Street. I was always a very early bird, like to get in, get out. That's when my brain has, the most function is early in the morning. So I do these videos also early in the morning. Um, so everything seemed to be going smoothly. My birthday was coming up in early December. And as the previous year, I had gone to Portsmouth, New Hampshire, to just get a feel for the area because I thought originally I was going to end up in New Hampshire. And I said, you know what? And they were going to have the tree lighting, actually, was going to be on my birthday. I think my birthday fell on that Saturday. I'm pretty sure. So I said, what a great, birthday present to myself. I'll book a hotel room down in Portsmouth for Saturday night and, go see the tree lighting um, Saturday evening. They always have it around 5 o'clock. It's a great thing. Like I said, I went the year before and everybody kind of just walks around. The city is all lit up with different decorations. And again, I'm not religious at all. But I do like that holiday feeling. And I guess it's part of it is because I didn't get to experience Christmas growing up. we didn't celebrate any holidays. So I do enjoy the season, the lights, the decorations, everything, but I do not celebrate, if that makes sense. So I actually ended up taking off that Friday and that Monday. And I had an eye doctor appointment on Monday. And then Friday I said, well, let me take the day, go, just go about, have fun, go take myself out to lunch, and just have a nice, enjoyable weekend because I hadn't had that in so long. It's kind of like having left New York in May and then right away being pushed into this craziness of not having a home from really, it was only 3 weeks that I was in Casco. Um, from Yeah, from May until the end of October, other than those 3 weeks. And then I stayed with that guy for 5 days, I think. That was the only time where I was somewhere permanently other than shelter, which was another 3 weeks. So the time came for me to have my nice long weekend. And that Friday, I got up. I'm not sure if I got up at my normal time because I don't think she would never get up before I did. And her nephew worked at a grocery store, so his schedule was, you know, varied, as far as when he went in. Some days it was night, some days it was early. But I never saw either of them in the morning. I was always going before either of them got up. So I think I didn't rush out Friday morning. And then I went and had lunch. I think I walked around some stores and just had very casual, went back early. Um, just a nice Friday. Saturday, I got up early and left probably around 9. Drove down to, I think, Kittery first, walked around there for a while, and then went to Portsmouth. Um, oh, I know what happened. So my psychic teacher still has different classes for those of us who have graduated to take. And I had helped her out with a woman who was one of her students who was having some issues, and she asked me to do a reading for her. And so because of that, she said, you can join one of these classes um, at no charge. So I was like, oh, okay, that's great. And in that class, I met a woman who lived in Massachusetts. And her and she was she was getting her hypnosis certification. So she needed to have volunteers to do a hypnosis session so that she can, prove that she's, has done these sessions in order to get her certification. So I said, oh, okay, no problem. I'll do one with you, which was great because I had um, known certain things about my past lives. But there was some holes. And just from past things that I felt, like I think I've said to you before, if you've been following me, there's things that will come up within you and you're saying like, oh, where'd that come from? Um, and it's like your soul still is carrying these things from past lives hundreds of years ago. And as an old soul, you have many, many, many lives that you've been through. I knew the medieval times was really, really huge for me, but I couldn't like put my finger on it. Like I had never fitted in there anywhere. But when she did the hypnosis session, she took me back and to medieval times. And like I saw myself, it wasn't me, it wasn't my physical self, because of course I didn't look like this, but I saw myself laying in a river. Anyway, um, I believe that he had done away with me. So that kind of filled in that hole as far as, where I had the hole that I didn't quite understand. Anyway, that's off topic. She was going to be doing a cat show. Everybody brings their cats, and it's like best of show in Portsmouth that weekend, that Saturday. No, 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 I'm sorry, this Sunday. So I'm like, oh, that's perfect timing. Actually, it was Saturday and Sunday she was going to be there. So he said, well, Saturday I'm going to see the tree lighting, if you want to join me. And she's like, well, I have the cat and everything. I'm going to be heading back home. So I said, well, what I'll do is I'll come see you at the location on Sunday. So Saturday, I walked around Portsmouth, beautiful, saw the tree lighting, um, left there, went back to the hotel. It was nice to stay in a hotel, even though I had what do you call PSTD from having had stayed in hotels trying to find a place previously. But it was nice just to relax and be by myself for a while. Next day, I got up, went to lunch, and then I went to where she was at this cat show and walked around there for a while. So that was kind of cool. And then I headed back home. Um, the next day was Monday, and I got up a little later because my eye doctor appointment was until early afternoon. I think maybe around 2-ish or so. So I got up. Um, Kate was still home, and I, hey, good morning, how are you? I went in to cook my breakfast, and I noticed she keeps kind of walking back and forth past me. And so I'm on the stove, cooking breakfast, and then she comes by me and she's like, has your schedule changed? I'm like, no. So she says, oh, and then she walks away. And then she comes back and she's like, I forget exactly what she said at first, but she something to I don't know if I said to her, I have the day. I don't know. I know I didn't want to say to her, I have the day off because like to me, it's none of your business. I don't follow your schedule or I don't know your schedule. She had a lot of time home because of the way she had worked her schedule. I never had time in the house by myself. And so she came back and she kind of said, well, you know, um, talking about her nephew, she says he needs to, because of his condition, he needs people to be on their schedules. And um, when you're off schedule, it kind of messes him up because of his condition. And I was kind of like, okay. And I kind of ignored it because I'm like, I have this, I'm like really meticulous as far as when I leave every morning, it's the same time. And had a relaxing weekend, a really nice weekend. And then for kind of sort of this thing is, so I like have to tell you like when I take a day off, like it's really none of your business. I live here. You don't tell me when you're taking a day off or what your schedule is, type of thing. So after that, I noticed she kind of was edgy, and I was like, okay, boundaries up now. And I had also confronted her about reading me. And as I told you, she's a channeler. And I thought that in the beginning that was going to be a good mix for the both of us because she seemed to have a spiritual background, and I also did. The thing is, she didn't use her spiritual gifts in a correct way. And I had told her, I said, it's unethical to read someone without their consent because we all have free will as far as if we want people to know our information or not. She's, oh, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. Anyway, it kind of now came to this kind of uncomfortable kind of situation. And I'm only there now, like a little over a month. Um, Christmas came. She and her nephew went to their family compound, I guess in Massachusetts, for 5 days or whatever it was. So I had the house to myself during that time, and that was nice. I think I had a couple of days off, and up until then, like I think I had New Year's Day off, but there kind of now was this friction within the house. And what I'll describe later on is kind of this spiritual warfare that's kind of starting. Um, and if you know, you know, but I'll get to that in the next video because I think I've talked or not. I haven't put on my timer. But thank you again for being here. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.